Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. In this tutorial, I am going to show and discuss how we automate the REST API by using the Playwright. Okay, so what topics I will cover here in this tutorial? So I will show how we create the Playwright object and what is the use of Playwright object, and then what is the API request context and why we need this. After that, I will show how we send the GET request, how we validate the response code, how we add the additional headers in the request, and then I will show how we automate the post, put, delete, and post method with the form parameter. So now let's started this. So we have URL right here. This is the official site of the Playwright Java doc. If you go here, you will see left side there is a API testing. Click on this and you will see this option. Here you will see some sample code, right, which we can use also to automate the REST API using the Playwright. Okay, so when we are going to automate some APIs, right, using the Playwright, then definitely we need some APIs examples, sample APIs, which we will cover and automate. So I am going to choose this Swagger Pet Store APIs. So there are some APIs is documented like post, pet, like upload image, post method, add a new pet to the store, put, update an existing pet, find pets by status. This is the get method find pet by ID, then post method updates a pet in the store with form data, then delete pet. So these are few APIs are documented here. These APIs we can use to learn how we automate the like uh, REST API by using the Playwright. Okay, so I will use this here first to get methods, right? I will use here get pets by status. So let's understand what this method is doing. So if I expand this, right, you will see here the detail is documented. Parameter section we have query parameters, and this is status value, status parameter. So we need to pass one parameters, this is query parameters along with the request. So if we want to execute here, so just click on the try it out. Okay, select the value because we can select only three values and execute, and in response you will see this is the curl commands which is executed to send the request, and here this is the request URL, and this is a response body. Here you will see all the pets have only the available status, second available. So all the pets we will see status is available. Response code is 200. So these detail we need to verify. And if I go in the post method, so I will select the first post method, add a new pets to the store. Click on this. Here you will see only one parameter we need to pass along with the request. That is the body parameters. Okay, and this is the JSON body. Parameters in header part we can pass the content type, application JSON. In response content we can also set either XML, application XML or application JSON. So two headers we need to pass here. One after that there is a put method. Put method is same, right? Here we can update existing pets where we can pass the JSON body, right? One parameters, and here we can update the add the pet ID. After that I will go delete pet. So delete pet basically accept one mandatory parameter. This is the pet ID. Pet ID we will pass in the path parameter. Okay, only one request, in the request one parameter we need. Next is the post, right, method update a pet in the store with the form data. So here there is a form parameters first pet id, this is the path parameters which will go along with the path. Then we have for form data like name parameters as well as the status parameters. So this API also I will use and show you. So these APIs I will use one by one. Okay, and this is the official document of the Playwright. So how we do that? So first of all, I told like we need to create the Playwright object. This will be very important, right? First object we need to create the Playwright object. Then we need API request context. So two objects we need. Okay, so let's see how we create the object. So let's first create these two. One more thing, like I have already set up here the Playwright in my Java project, but if you are going from scratch, first time you are going to use the Playwright for the uh, Java Maven project, and you don't know how we create and how we add the form.xml file. So I have already added links. I have created one video, separate video, where you will learn how we create a Java project for the Playwright using Maven. Okay, so watch that video. That video will help you how we create a Maven project. Now, I have already created one package here. So now I'm going to use here, create here one API class example API. So as I told, like we need to create first these two variables objects. Let's add here first reference variable. These two variable objects need, okay, and we need to use throughout all the APIs, right? So let's create a separate class, separate methods. This is before class method annotation I have added. So before class, this is the testng annotation, right? Which will execute this method before running any methods in the class. So how we create object? So we can call the Playwright dot create methods. Okay, Playwright object is created. Next we need to create request object. So request object we can create using the Playwright object, and this is basically helps to send the request. So we can call here so if you go here you will see request Playwright request. Okay, then we have new context object. Here we can set the API context, and in API context we can set the base URL. So let's copy paste here. So Playwright dot request object, then creating the new context. In the new context I am calling new API request new context, and then call the set base URL. Okay, so base URL, basically in our APIs we have base URL here, and this is the base URL. And also we can see when I executed the any request, like first I am going to use the find status, find by status. Let's execute this. Okay, so after the execution you can see we are getting the URL here. So this is the base URL, so copy this one and pass here. Okay, so base URL is set up. Now let's create a method for the get API. Get pet by status. Import class testng class. So this is the one testng test method. So now using this request we can call get methods, and in get method we can pass the resources URL. So we can pass URL v2 pets find by status, and the query parameter status value equal to available. Pass this, and now it will return the response object API response. API response. So if this is returning API response, we can use this in API response object. Import this. Okay. So this response contains all the details of the response after getting from the server. So if I want to check status, so we have response there is a status method. This will give us the status value, integer value. Then we have status, suppose that text, so this will give us the status in text format. We can also check response dot okay. So there is okay method, it will check the response is okay or not. If response is okay, then it will give us the true, otherwise it will give us the false. So we have a method here, response dot text. So this will give us the response in the text format. Okay, so now let me run and you will see the response on the console. Okay, so now you can see here I am getting the value response okay, true, right? Status text okay, response code 200, and this is the JSON body I am getting in response. Okay, so we can change here value sold and let's see what value we will get. Okay, if I go here in the API, you will see the pets is only for the sold. Okay, so now in this way we can use the we can send the get request. Okay, now let's see how we will verify the response code. So call assert, we have assert equal. Okay, so this response code is giving us true or false, right? So we can compare with this true, and here response okay 200 is true. Next with assertion we can also apply next to assertion, right? Status text and status. So status text basically it returns us the text format like okay. So we can check this is okay or not. And this is return. This will return response code like I'm using here assert equals response code is 200. So using this we can add assertion. Okay, so this is running. Now next, how we set up the header part in the request, how we validate the response code, how we add the headers value in the request. So if you go in the same sample right here, you will see there are map object, right? Using this map object like key and value pair, we can set the headers and pass in the request context option. Okay, so let's create a map object here. So this is common I'm going to use, so we can put here in the setup method. Then we can add here key values calling the put method. Okay, so what header we need to provide here? So there are, suppose that we want to get the response in XML format. So if I go in the API, there is a application slash JSON. If I change this and run, it will return the response in XML format. In XML format. What we need to set up? Accept and value application slash XML. So let me add here this one. And also we have content type. So second is content type we need to pass. So suppose that this is the JSON. So these two headers I am passing. So additional headers create object, and then here when we are creating the object of request, here we can pass add set extra HTTP headers file. Okay, Now here I set up accept equal to XML format. So if I run this get method, we will get response in XML format. Yeah, now you can see the response I am getting in XML format. Now next, how we automate the post request using the Playwright. Okay, so let's see. This is the post method, right? And here we need to pass only one parameter, and this parameter is the body parameters, right? So copy this body and create methods like here I'm creating add pet. Okay, let's put this JSON body here in the string format. Okay, add create this. Yeah, there is some extra slash n is add slash n and r is added. So let me remove this. Okay, so here then next we need to call this request dot request object dot and then post method. And in the post method we need to pass the URL. So this is the slash pet. So pass here slash v2 slash pet. One more additional argument we need to pass here. So if I go here in this example, scroll down and you will see one post request is example is available here, and here we need to pass the request options where we can set the data. When we are sending the post request, here we can set up also post details request options create, and we can set the data and pass the JSON data. This method again return response object. This is API response. Okay, if I print this, you will see the response. Let me add here test ng notation, right, at the test and run. Okay, so data you can see this is coming pets detail. Okay, this is the ID of pets. And if I convert this XML into the JSON format, right, so we will start getting the response in JSON format. So where we need to change, just change in header part. And let me run again. Yeah, getting the response in JSON format. Now next we need to use the post method, right? In the put method like update pets. So for the update pets and post pets, there are not much different. If you go here in the put method, because here we are using to update an existing pet, right? This is same as we have post methods, but only the difference here we have put method. We need to same way we need to send the JSON body, right? Here we can use the ID to update the value. Similar same thing, content type application JSON accept application JSON. So same thing, JSON data is same, only we need to change here ID for which pet we want to update, and now the method need to change from post to put. Method is updated and let's get the ID. So I have created here one pets. Now let's capture this ID and paste here. Okay, and now post method put request is ready. Let's send the request. Yeah, same pets details we are getting updated. Okay, so next we have delete APIs. Okay, So this is again same approach we need to use, and delete pet. Okay, request this complete we need to use same code. Okay, request, but here we need to replace this with delete method name. And let's see what resources we need to use. So here for the delete there is slash pet, and then we need to pass the pet id. There is a header part API key we need to pass, but this is not mandatory. Only the mandatory is pet id, and this pet id we need to pass along with the path parameter. So let's, this is the id. Okay, here slash pet and then id. No need to pass any request option here, this is not required. Okay, and let's print the response code and see what response we will get. Response text and response status text. Okay, so this is the delete request I am sending, and if I send, let's see the response. So now pet is deleted. Okay, this expected message we are getting. So this is expected message. If I execute the data from the Swagger file, we will get same type of response. Okay, so if I execute here, we will get same type response. Now if I run again, because the pet's now deleted, so next time it will not execute because now pet is not available. So we will either get 404 error code, okay, because pet is not available. So let's see. Yeah, not found. What status code we are getting? Not found. So why not found? Because pet is deleted in previous execution. Now this is clear how we automate the get API by using the uh, Playwright. How we automate the port, port, uh, post methods. Then how we automate the put methods to update the data. How we use the automate the delete APIs to delete the data. Right. Next we have how to send post request with form parameters. So let's create another methods here. Update pets by form parameter. Okay. So if I go here in APIs, right, we have post update a pet in the store with the form data. So we need to pass here three parameters. One is the pet ID. This pet ID will go along with the URL. Then we have name and status code. Two value, more values we need to pass. So status code how we get, pet ID how we get. So let's first add a pet. So when I add pet, we will get the one new pet ID. So this is the pet ID. So this pet ID we can use here with URL, and this is the post method because I am going to use post method. We have two parameters, name and status. This is form parameters. So if I go in the Playwright, right, again you will see we can use map, right, to create the data, and then data we will set from same approach, request option. So let's create here form parameter data as a map. So this is the data, and we have two parameters. One is the name here, second is the status. So name and status. Name I am giving here dog, and suppose that status I am going to print at sold. Okay, so this is the request. Now we need to create, add the request options and then set data here. Okay, then here we have set data request dot post, passing the details then request option, here setting up the data, which data we want to update. So this is the form data, and we will get a response, right, and store in API response object, then text and status code, both I am printing. Let me run. Yeah, so code I'm getting here. One more thing, you can see unsupported media type. Okay, and response code we are getting 414. This is unsupported. Why we are getting unsupported? Because if I go and execute this API, you will see here form parameters we will get different. Content type we will get different, like status sold. This is dog. So content type, you can see this is application a form URL encoded. So what we can do, right, there I have created one request object. Here we are setting up the different headers, right? So this we can call separately here, because we need add here one additional header, okay, in this request. So copy code from here, and this is the map object we can also use here. This is the map for header, and this is the request API request context. So I'm going to create here separate, because the header what I'm using above this, that is not applicable for this method. So API request context request playwright request new context. This is the base URL. This is the set extra headers. So headers here we need to pass content type is application slash x double form URL encoded. So let's replace this. Okay, header is added here. Now header is going here, same request I'm going to use here to send the post request for the form parameters. Okay, now let me run. Yeah, now you can see getting response okay, and this is the message, response message. This is our expected message. Okay, so now here what we learned how we create a playwright object, how we create API request context object, how we send the get request, how we validate the response code, how we add the headers value, how we send the post request, put request, delete request, and post request with the form parameters. So hope this will be very helpful in your case to learn the how we automate the APIs, REST APIs by using the Playwright. Okay. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Okay. And if you are also need any like resource videos for any particular tutorials, leave a comment. I will try to add. And if you like the video, please click on the like button, subscribe the channel, and share this video to your friends, colleagues.